Ever since its launch in 2019, the MG Hector has been known as the king of bling in its segment. It has this larger than life appeal and it's big on virtually everything. So for 2023, it only makes sense that MG has added yet more bling to the Hector and it also has a lot more features. Now the question is, how does all of that come along in this all new package? Is the Hector still that value proposition that it once was? Well, we have this brand new SUV with us today, so let's go for a drive and find out. First things first, let's talk about the design. What's changed on the outside? So this right here is the latest Hector and this is the Plus version. So that means this is the one that's offered with either 6 or 7-seater version. But the thing is, all the Hectors now look identical from outside, so you don't really have to guess which one is this. But coming back to the changes that have been made on this car, well, of course, you can see it right in front of you. It has got this massive diamond mesh grille that is the main attraction of this car. You can see it has got this pattern over here and it is a big, imposing and very in-your-face design now. So it stands out, it looks quite aggressive. Now other than that, it retains the split headlamp design of the old car. So that means you've got this DRL which also changes into indicators on top, and you've got these projector headlamps at the bottom as well as fog lamps right at the bottom. So the bumper design is slightly new, but overall the main attraction is of course this grille. Now another thing is it has also got this ADAS radar right here. So this is a new addition that you'll notice, but of course it's for the keen eyed. It has also got this front camera right below the MG logo. So these are the bits that are of course new on this car. Now coming to the side profile, it's largely unchanged. There's nothing that's been done on that front, so they have left it as it was. So that means it's got the same profile, it's got those same 18-inch wheels as before, and overall the silhouette is more or less identical. So if you're going to see it from the side profile, you're not going to make out if there's a new or the old car. However, if you come around the back, again the changes here are significant. As you can see, it has got this connected LED pattern over here, which was something that you must have seen in the first model when it came out, but this was a reflector strip in the first car, but here it has got actual lights. Otherwise, the tail lamps are more or less the same. Other changes are of course this spread out Hector logo, which is inspired by the Gloucester, and then you also have this Plus badging, which is for the Hector Plus. And the bumper design is more or less the same, and one more change, it has got this ADAS badge right here. So that means it is equipped with ADAS systems. So overall it looks big, it looks imposing, it is again a very aggressive, a very bold design, and if you are a fan of that typical MG bling, well, you're absolutely going to love this car, because when it's on the road, it definitely has that presence. It definitely feels more SUV-like and a lot more imposing. So on the inside, MG has completely revamped the cabin of the Hector for 2023. That goes for both the variants, the standard one and the Plus. So as you can see, the biggest update is this touchscreen, which is 14-inch in size and it's mounted vertically. So the screen, it is bigger than most of the tabs. It's actually the same size as your laptop screen probably, and it's massive, it's big, everything here just is in your face, just like the grille of this car. So it's very intuitive to use. You can connect to your Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, and it's quite seamless on that front. But at the same time, I have to say that sometimes when you're looking at the screen and you're driving, it is a little distractive because it's big, and like I said, everything is in your face. So sometimes you're just too awestruck with this screen. So it takes time to get your eyes off the screen and back on the road. So for me, sometimes it can be a problem, but other than that, I think it is brilliant. I also love the 360-degree camera that it comes with, and the great part is you have got this 3D mode, so it gives you a better understanding of the size of your SUV and the surroundings, and you can really use it. It's very helpful, and the camera quality is also quite decent. Of course, it's not HD, but it is quite decent and it works flawlessly. So these are some of the features that definitely stand out, and on top of that, MG has also loaded the new Hector with ADAS, level 2 ADAS driver assistance systems. So you've got the lane keep assist, you've got collision mitigation system, you've got auto emergency braking, we've also got adaptive cruise control, and it also comes with something called traffic jam assist, which basically steers, accelerates and keeps the car in the lane if you are stuck in peak hour traffic. On top of that, you've also got a Bluetooth key now with this car. So that means you can access the car and even share it with two of your contacts through a Bluetooth key. That means you have the app on your phone and you can just connect the car via Bluetooth. You can lock it, unlock it, and even drive this car. Now coming to other changes, well, the dashboard design is completely new. We've got this soft top leather dash, which looks quite good, looks quite upmarket, and the AC controls have also been redesigned, and the general fit and finish and quality is also quite good. It feels like a premium car. It looks like something that belongs to the sub 25 lakh segment. In addition to that, you've also got a new gear lever. You've got a lot of buttons over here. You get ventilated seats as well. You've got electronic parking brake. There's also the eco drive mode. You've got wireless phone charging and a lot more features. Now the Hector also comes with something called intelligent turn indicator. So that means if you rotate the steering wheel by 30 degrees, the indicator comes on, whichever side you're steering to. Similarly, if I go towards left, the indicator turns on. So it is a useful feature at parking speeds, I'd say. I find this feature a bit gimmicky in that respect, because if you are going to take a turn, I think you need to indicate way before, so that steering thing happens right when you're taking the curve. So I don't think you should fully depend on this system. You should indicate as you do, that is 200 meters in advance. So yeah, it's a great feature at parking speeds, so that someone knows that you're turning around and all that. But it does that indicating bit once you've already turned the wheel. So not that useful in that regard. Now the advantage of the Hector 6-seater is that it comes with these captain seats, and I think these are very comfortable. You can sit here quite comfortably. You have got large glass house, you've got this massive panoramic sunroof. So overall you feel quite comfy, and of course there is that sense of space that you get. You feel like you're sitting in a much bigger car because you can see around, and it feels quite comfy in that sense. It feels quite airy, I'd say that. Now in terms of leg room and headroom, you can see there is no complaints on that front. So even if you want to be chauffeured around, I think this is a great place to be. So technically this is a 6-seater version, but at the back, I'll just show it to you, it's not that great. So right now I'm in the third row, and don't ask me how I got here, because it took a lot of weird body positioning and bending over. So I can't show that to you because it'll look very weird and awkward. But again, I'm here now, and this is the third row. So technically this is a 6-seater, that means 2 plus 2 plus 2. But I don't think the standards are quite the same for all 3 rows, because these seats are very cramped. There is absolutely no space. As you can see, there's no leg room. I'm sitting with my knees pointing up, and yeah, you can't call it a 6-seater technically. Even for kids, even if I were an 8-year-old, I'd find this very punishing, because there's not a lot of space, and you're not comfortable here. Of course, if you're going for a family dinner, family outing over a day, not over a day, in fact, I'd say probably an hour, that's what you can stretch it to. So then you can sit here, then kids can sit here. But other than that, I don't think it's very comfortable. Now currently the front seat is set to my specifications, as in it's set for someone 5'8", 5'9". So I have virtually no space here, I can't sit here. But having said that, there are some creature comforts here. Like I said, it has got a fan speed control over here, and there is that AC vent as well. And you've got cup holders, and you've also got a USB port to charge your phone. So that's good. And even the headroom is quite decent. So on that front, there's no complaining. But yeah, space-wise, practicality-wise, this is not the best third row that you get in this segment. On top of that, if you're planning to drive out of town for a weekend getaway with 6 people, of course, you're not going to have a lot of luggage space as well, because the boot has virtually no space. If you are driving with 6 passengers, if the other 2 passengers are ready to sit here, if you somehow convince them, so then of course the luggage is not going to fit in that very narrow and very small boot space. So the Hector and Hector Plus are still available with the same engine options. That means it has got a 1.5 litre turbo 4-cylinder petrol engine, the one that I'm driving right now, and it has also got a 2 litre diesel, which is supplied by Jeep or Fiat Chrysler India. So let's stick to the petrol for the time being because that's the one we are driving. And interestingly, this one is the CVT. Now, of course, earlier it was available with both CVT and a DCT. And of course, there was a 6-speed manual as well. But this time it's only available with the manual and the CVT, the one that we are driving. Now, first things first, this is a very refined engine. And if you're driving it in the city, the refinement, the NVH levels are really, really good. I mean, you can't hear anything from the engine. Right now, I'm doing close to 50 kilometers per hour, doing 1500 RPMs, and it's quiet. It's like it's electric car quiet actually. So nothing filters into the cabin, and in daily driving conditions, you're absolutely going to love it because it's very comfy. Now, this engine is quite punchy. It produces 141 bhp and 250 Newton meters of torque. So respectable numbers, and it shows on the road because this is a brisk performer, I'd say. It's not really a quick car because it's heavy. It weighs over 1600 kilograms. It picks up speed very progressively, and there's no real drama, but there's no real lag as well. So in daily driving, this is very effortless to use, and you're going to like this driving experience more than the DCT, I'd say, because from what I remember, it used to feel a little clunky, but this one, because it's a CVT, the transitions are very smooth and it is very comfy in that respect. Now, the problem arises if you put your foot down and you want more performance, as in, let's suppose if you are on a highway, you want to pull a quick overtake, well, that's when you'll feel this thing has that lag. It has that typical CVT rubber band effect. So what it does, if you mash the throttle pedal, you can see the revs are rising, but the car is not moving. So this is that typical CVT rubber band thing that I talked about. And that's when it feels a little laggy. That's the lane keep assist, asking me to get back to the lane. That's the ADAS thing at work. Now, okay, coming back to the performance, well, yes, that's when you really feel the difference. Of course, it has got that sport mode as well. You have got manual controls as well for gear shifts, but it doesn't have paddle shifters. But overall, I'd say the performance is not that sort that will put your pants on fire. So if you drive it leisurely, if you drive it comfortably, if you're not expecting a lot, this is a great engine and transmission. Another problem with driving this car fast or enthusiastically is the fact that it drinks quite a lot of fuel if you are going to drive it fast. So you're not going to get more than 9 or 10 kilometers to a liter in city driving conditions. If you drive it leisurely, you can probably stretch it to 11 or 12. So that's one thing that you should be aware of, because this car also doesn't get that mild hybrid system that used to come with the outgoing version. So that means it doesn't even have that start-stop thing. Now let's talk about the ride and handling. So I'm not going to say a lot about the handling of this car because it's not meant to do those high-speed cornering or anything like that. This is the car that's meant to do your daily driving duties, to take you from point A to point B in utter comfort with all the gadgets and everything that's on offer. So don't drive it like an idiot, I'd say. Don't push it around corners. If you drive it normally, if you drive it how a normal person would, well, there is absolutely no problem with the car. It takes a corner at decent speeds. The steering is okay, there is not a lot of feel, but if you twirl it, it does exactly what you want it to do. If you're a boy racer, of course, it's not going to thrill you in that sort, but if you're someone who's just going to drive daily from your home to work, well, this is a perfect sort of setting. It's very comfortable, very quiet. It does what you ask it for. So in terms of handling, that is. Now coming to the ride quality, well, this is a big and soft car, and the ride quality is quite great. It keeps you isolated from the undulations, from potholes, everything that is a common affair on Indian roads. But still, I think it's a little too soft, because if you hit a pothole or an undulation at relatively high speeds, let's say over 50-60, well, there is that solid thud that filters into the cabin. So that is a bit discomforting. But other than that, there is absolutely no complaints in terms of the ride quality or the comfort part. Even at high speeds, if you're cruising at highway speeds, it is very quiet. It is very comfortable. And if you are going to do triple-digit speeds, you can cruise at those speeds very comfortably, because it doesn't feel nervous or unstable. The high-speed stability is also quite good, and you won't necessarily enjoy driving this car, but it feels very effortless. Like I said in the beginning, the visibility is great, the large glass house around. So it's a car that's meant for effortless driving. It's not supposed to thrill you in that sense. It's not got those sort of elements. It's just a car that's tuned for comfort, and I think this is something that it does really well. I've always considered the MG Hector to be something like gadgets on wheel, because this car is just packed with features. It has got those big screens and it has got all the modern features that you can ask for in a car. Now the current update, well, it does everything that the Hector was known for. It has gotten expensive. This is the Hector Plus 6-seater version, which is around 22.5 lakh rupees ex-showroom, and the top-end variant is only available with the Petrol CVT version. It's not available with the diesel, it's not available with the manual versions as well. So yeah, the diesel version also doesn't get an automatic. So that is a miss, because if you still have the diesel, I think a lot of customers, especially targeted MG customers, would want that automatic gearbox. So that's missing from the list. So this is a car for someone who wants features, who wants an imposing SUV, and who's ready to shell out that sum of money. But overall, like I said, this is still a gadget on wheels. So if you're looking for something more involving to drive, I'd say go for the Harrier or XEV 700. But if you're looking for something that's just loaded with features and it's also comfortable and effortless to drive, I think the MG Hector still does that job really, really well.